So last time we talked, Autumn Kealoha, the heir of my legacy challenge, started her first day of work as a civil designer, while her wife, Shanna Kealoha, had the Volkov house appraised, trained with the Sage of Mischief Magic Felix, and upgraded our founder Alexis Volkov's rocket. The two of them having a heart-to-heart before Alexis left for Sixam. Luckily for us, the rocket didn't crash. I just love making you panic. Alexis landed safely in Sixam, taking in the beauty surrounding her. Alexis couldn't believe it. She was actually here in space, on Sixam, all thanks to her precious daughter-in-law, Shanna. Without her help, she was sure she wouldn't have been able to fully upgrade the rocket before the family vacation tomorrow. She didn't know how she'd ever be able to repay her, but she knew that these weird-looking plants all around Sixam would surely please her daughter and our heir, Autumn. There was probably no way in hell Autumn would ever come up to space on her own, so Alexis would collect as much of these plants as she could. Everything was so sparkly and pretty, and there were aliens everywhere. She was kind of scared, but she figured as long as she minded her business, they wouldn't bother her. So she wandered and explored, soaking it all in, picking up whatever weird plants or objects she could find along the way to bring back home to Earth. She found diamonds and ironium and obtainium. She found small aliens and nightlight and even lost simoleons. It was all so interesting. The wonders of the world and space. God, what was she thinking when she was young? All she cared about was money and material items. This, the beauty of life and love and family, was what it was all about. She was glad she grew up and realized that she would have spent her whole life chasing a check instead of appreciating the beauty all around her. She appreciated this experience. She admired Sixam, and she was glad there was a fully built rocket now that she could pass down to her kids so they could explore it for themselves. This type of beauty is too wondrous to keep all to herself, but unfortunately, she had to go back home. She no longer had all the time in the world to waste. The morning would soon be coming, and she had a family trip in Granite Falls to attend. Autumn was brewing more kombucha and Chris was finishing one last gig when she got back home. She immediately marched upstairs to her bedroom, overhearing Sage's iPad playing from his mother's bedroom, to safely tuck away the items she found. In Sixam, in the new keepsake box she'd bought, Alexis had put every material object in her life that mattered to her in this box, and she would be passing it down to one of her children. What they decide to do with the box and the items in it was up to them, but she still had trouble deciding which kid she'd be giving it to, which one needed its contents the most. She figured she would sleep on it. Precious sleep was something she valued much at this life stage of hers. She found great comfort snuggled in the sheets of her bed, the bed she'd shared with Chris for many years. She couldn't help but shake the thought that she may never feel this way ever again. Oh, so safe in Christopher's arms in the comfort of their own bed. So she enjoyed it to the fullest and tried her very best to put her brain to sleep, despite it not wanting to. Everyone else in the household was wide awake, excited to leave for Granite Falls in the morning, and just like her mother was doing just a few short minutes ago. Autumn was thinking, as she brewed beer untended to her garden. She was thinking lots about hers and Sage's recent trip to San Sequoia and who they visited. Edward, Hillary, Nina, and Micah Volkov. They were the definition of the perfect suburban cookie-cutter family. High school sweethearts who married young, a paralegal and stay-at-home mum, with two beautiful children living in a little blue starter home in the perfect picturesque neighborhood. In Autumn's eyes, her brother had it all, and she couldn't help but partially resent Hillary for how easy she had it. She felt this way when she found out she was pregnant with Nina and still felt this way now. What was wrong with her? Hillary's win is not her loss, but she just couldn't help it. She wanted what Hillary had, a healthy reproductive system and a successful pregnancy. River's death killed her, and Shanna carrying Sage upset her deeply, but seeing Micah changed everything. She shouldn't feel upset or angry. She should feel motivated to not give up and to try again. Even her mother Alexis encouraged her to try having a baby again back in episode 100 for after Shanna had given birth. So, why shouldn't she? She has nothing to lose. She was done being envious of everyone else. She just has to have a baby of her own. So she told her wife Shanna that she would be right back, that she had some errands to run, and by errands, she meant going to the hospital and getting impregnated with yet another science baby. Shanna, of course, was completely oblivious, going back to potion making as Sage slept, and Clint was going to release his first ever studio album. He'd written over 10 songs in the past few days, released 3, and was getting more views and more royalties every single day. He was starting to think he had a real shot of fame. And that's when Autumn came back from the hospital, pregnant once again with the science baby. I am so scared for her. LMAO. Autumn rushed back inside the house to find Shanna, dropping the bomb. She secretly went and got impregnated with the science baby this morning. The operation being successful, Shanna was in shock, but was thrilled. Another baby, a sibling for Sage. Their little family was growing. Our little lesbians were so damn happy. Shanna was so proud of Autumn for not giving up and for trying again. And Autumn was set on this pregnancy being successful. She would take every precaution necessary, every prenatal vitamin, every piece of her doctor's advice in order to keep this baby alive and well. And if she does everything right and they still lose another baby, then she'll give up. Clint got back from releasing his album and found out that his music had a Hitbeat score of 100 out of 100, landing him with a new management company and an offer to sing at his very own concert for 10,000 simoleons. He couldn't believe he was actually becoming famous and being offered so much money. He made himself a fruity, fancy drink to celebrate his newfound success. The early afternoon was beginning to creep up, meaning it was almost time for the family to leave for Granite Falls. Alexis made a delicious lunch of hot pot for the family to share, her daughters Autumn and Shanna coming downstairs to join her and to share the news. Autumn took her advice and didn't give up. She was pregnant once again. Alexis couldn't believe it. She was so happy for the two of them. She knew this is what Autumn always wanted and loved, seeing the happiness all over her face. And that's the thing about life. People find it so beautiful when it's new and fresh, but no one seems to care about those who have lived long ones. As for Alexis, she knew that wasn't the case. She knew she was extremely lucky and had a family that loved her no matter what, even at her old age. It was time to leave for Granite Falls, and Alexis felt the need to walk outside and take in the view of the house she'd lived in for most of her life. The house in which she gave birth, saw Edward take his first steps, and held Sage for the first time. The house she saw her children play inside. The house she cried in when Jacob died. The house that caught on fire too many times. The house that kept her safe from the chaos of the world around her. Why she felt the need to do this, you ask? Because Alexis had a feeling that this was the last time she would ever be seeing it.